And at the end of the day, we end up with nothing being done to help Pennsylvania workers. Absolutely nothing. That's what's going to come out of this unfortunate session for this House Labor and Industry Committee. Absolutely nothing to help Pennsylvania workers. In fact, by voting down the amendment to require E-Verify, we are putting illegal immigrants above Pennsylvania workers. They are going to be taking Pennsylvania jobs away from American citizens, and this majority votes down E-Verify every single time. Again, putting the status of illegal immigrants and those individuals above Pennsylvanians and American citizens, the ones who we should be standing up for. So time and time again, this committee has failed, and this legislation is another example of that.
There's no low-wage job anyone's fighting over. Let me make that very clear. When we talk about the immigration or immigrant population, the jobs that are being filled by immigrants are not jobs that any one of us are looking to take, or any other American are looking to take. They are normally the bottom paid jobs in our economy. But we have this notion that we should create a boogeyman in the immigrant population. They're coming to eat our dogs and cats and steal our low-wage jobs. It is ridiculous. It is beneath you to even mention that in this committee. We are above that. We should try really hard to live up to our oath and be the best kind of individuals in this Commonwealth. We should not stoop low to those degrading comments in this committee or in this building. You are better than that. So we should stop doing that.
As we've discussed in this committee a number of times during this legislative session, I think that it is important that we have employers only hiring individuals who are legally authorized to work here in the United States. E-Verify is a federal program which would allow for the easy verification of those individual status to work here in the country. This program is voluntary, but in some cases here in the Commonwealth, we've actually made it mandatory, and we've done that in a overwhelming bipartisan fashion. So I think that this is something that does have strong support. I think we should continue to include this in legislation as we move forward through this Labor and Industry Committee. So would encourage a yes vote on this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the amendment? Well, I would urge all members to oppose this amendment, considering that E-Verify is already a part of the structure. Jonathan, take the roll.
Dawkins?
No.
Boyd?
No by designation.
Brennan? Deloso? No. Donahue? No. Giroux? No. Green? Haddock? No. McNeil?
No, and all the rest of the Democrats voting in the negative.
Rowe?
Yes by designation.
Stambaugh? The amendment fails.
It seems to me that for the most part, this committee has run very partisan legislation this legislative session, with no input from the minority committee, no input from a broad array of stakeholders across the spectrum that would be impacted by this legislation. And it's a really bad way to legislate. It's just a terrible way to legislate. If we actually want to impact positive change for workers, we should work in a bipartisan fashion. This is an issue that I think we should be discussing. But we have seen this repeatedly, time and time again, this legislative session, where there are issues that we would be interested and willing to work with you on, and nothing is done to reach out to different stakeholder groups. Nothing is done to reach out to the minority. It's passed on partisan lines, and at the end of the day, we end up with nothing being done to help Pennsylvania workers. Absolutely nothing. That's what's going to come out of this unfortunate session for this House Labor and Industry Committee. Absolutely nothing to help Pennsylvania workers. In fact, by voting down the amendment to require E-Verify, we are putting illegal immigrants above Pennsylvania workers.
The minority chairman sat here and blatantly lied about not having diversity in opinions in this committee when himself has bills that ran through this committee. There's been members of the Republican minority party who have bills run through this committee. Ask yourself last session how many Democratic bills ran through this committee. It has been a stark difference of leadership. We believe in the idea of ideas when they make sense. What we do not tolerate is the rhetoric and the racist tropes of immigrants taking jobs from Americans. We're going to stop that, and we're going to stop that now. This committee is about doing the work. What we're not going to do is the nonsense. We all know that we already have a process in terms of verification. We know this, but we continue to do this because we believe we're going to win some type of cheap political shots. We're about doing the work. And I am just sick and tired of hearing about it. And please stop bringing it up in this committee. Jonathan, please take the roll.